Disclaimer: by existing in the modern world, you've agreed to a set of shady, manipulative, emotionally explosive terms and conditions. You just didn't know it. Until now. This is the Industry Plant Podcast. Terms and conditions apply, but never where they're written. From dating apps to office birthdays, we're decoding society's shady little user manuals, one unwritten rule at a time.
Ever get that nagging feeling like there's a secret playbook for life and somehow you miss the orientation?
Oh yeah, that sense of just navigating by feel where the rules aren't exactly written down, but it feels like everyone else knows them.
Exactly that. And that's precisely what we're digging into today. We've got this collection of observations. It's called The Fine Print of Life, the unwritten rules they never taught you.
Interesting title.
Isn't it? Think of it like a cheat sheet, maybe. For those subtle things, those understandings that can really, shape how things turn out.
Okay, so what's the mission here?
Pretty straightforward, actually. We want to unpack these hidden rules, kind of explore why they might exist, and maybe save you from a few of those head-scratching moments.
Right, it's about understanding those undercurrents, isn't it? The social dynamics, the unspoken expectations that often dictate how we see things and how others see us.
Okay, let's dive in. First one. Your 20s are not for winning, they're for learning and failing loudly. Now, doesn't that just take a load off?
It really does, because there's this intense pressure in your 20s, right? To have it all figured out, the career, the relationships, the whole shebang, like yesterday.
Totally. It feels like you're already behind if you haven't peaked by 25.
Exactly. And this observation, it flips that script. It reframes that decade as a crucial time for exploration. And importantly, for making those mistakes, those missteps that actually lead to real growth.
So less about winning, more about learning the ropes.
Precisely. Think of it as a phase of intense experimentation. The cost of failure is, relatively speaking, lower than it might be later on, and the learning potential is huge.
I like how the source puts it. You're not late, you're not behind, you're just in the part of the movie where the hero is still getting punched in the face.
Yeah, that's a good one. It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it?
It does. Instead of feeling like you're failing, it suggests you're, right on track for the messy but necessary learning part.
Absolutely. And if you look at it from a psychological angle, like identity formation and emerging adulthood, the 20s are prime time for trying different things, different roles, exploring what actually clicks for you.
So those failures, the job that didn't work out, the relationship ending,
they're not really failures in the long run. They contribute massively to building a stronger sense of self later on. So yeah, if you're in your 20s and things feel chaotic, that might just mean you're doing it right. You're in the thick of learning.
Okay, here's a really fascinating one. You'll be judged for the same things you were praised for. Wow, talk about confusing.
This really gets at how perception is just so context dependent and dependent on the observer's own, viewpoint.
How so?
Well, a trait that's admired in one situation can be seen totally negatively in another. It often comes down to things like power dynamics or just how comfortable people around you are with that trait.
Right. The examples they give are spot on. Being assertive suddenly becomes aggressive. Being quiet means you need to speak up.
Or ambitious becomes too much. And if you're chill, suddenly you're not doing enough.
It feels like you can't win sometimes. A real moving target.
Well, the underlying idea here could be linked to something like social comparison theory. We judge others relative to ourselves. Right. So someone's assertiveness, you might praise it if they're fighting for your team, but if it challenges your idea, suddenly it's aggression.
I see.
The key takeaway seems to be aware that this happens. Know that perceptions shift. And maybe focus more on your own understanding of yourself rather than chasing that external validation that keeps changing.
That leads nicely into this next one, which really makes you think, especially about careers. Networking matters more than talent. Oof, it could be a tough pill to swallow.
It definitely challenges that pure meritocracy dream, doesn't it? The idea that just being good is enough.
Yeah, we all want to believe that hard work and talent are all that matter.
And competence is important, no doubt. But this point highlights the massive role of social capital, basically. The value you get from your connections, your relationships.
So talent gets your foot in the door.
But your network, the people who know you and trust you, they can open up whole corridors of opportunity you wouldn't even know existed otherwise.
It's not just about having the skills then. It's about people knowing you have them and remembering you and actually liking you enough to put your name forward.
Exactly. That personal connection, that visibility is often the crucial piece. Building a strong network isn't just like collecting LinkedIn contacts.
Right.
It's about building real relationships, mutual respect. That's what gives you access to information, support, people advocating for you. It can really accelerate things.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. This one impacts how we manage ourselves. Being too available makes you less valuable. I think we've all maybe felt that dynamic shift.
It touches on a basic principle, almost like in economics. Scarcity tends to increase perceived value.
How does that apply to people?
Well, if something or someone's time or attention is just always there, constantly available, paradoxically, it can lead to it being appreciated less. Taken for granted, maybe.
So it's not about playing games or being aloof.
No, not necessarily. It's more about setting healthy boundaries, valuing your own time and energy. If you're always saying yes, always available, people might subconsciously devalue your time because, well, it seems infinite.
The unwritten rule they mentioned is interesting. You don't have to ghost people. Just stop auditioning for roles you've already outgrown.
That's a great way to put it. It's about recognizing when you're maybe overextending yourself, putting energy into places where it's not valued or needed anymore, and then choosing to redirect that energy.
Reclaiming your time, essentially.
Exactly. It links back to self-worth. Recognizing your value isn't tied to being perpetually accessible. Your time's limited, right?
Yeah.
How you use it shows what you prioritize, including yourself.
Let's talk about something more internal now. Silence is a superpower. I've definitely been in situations where just not reacting immediately felt incredibly powerful.
Oh, absolutely. We live in a world that pushes for constant noise, instant replies, right? So choosing silence, using it strategically, can be remarkably effective.
How does it work, psychologically?
Well, for one, silence can make the other person uncomfortable. They might feel the need to fill that void, maybe reveal more than they intended, or even reconsider what they just said.
The source says, silence unsettles the insecure and empowers the grounded. That really hits on how different people react.
It does. It shows how silence can subtly shift the power dynamic. If someone's looking for a reaction, trying to get a rise out of you, silence denies them that.
And for the person staying silent.
It gives you control. It allows you to think, to respond thoughtfully. Instead of having a knee-jerk reaction, you're in a more considered, more powerful position.
Okay, this next one might resonate with a lot of people, especially thinking about work. Loyalty is rare, especially in systems designed to burn you out. That feels a bit cynical, but maybe realistic.
It's a pretty stark assessment, yeah. But it reflects the often transactional nature of many modern environments, particularly large organizations. Loyalty is often talked about, held up as a virtue.
But maybe not always rewarded.
Or not consistently. The structures themselves, the focus on short-term results, might not actually prioritize or foster genuine reciprocated loyalty. And that can lead to a lot of disillusionment when people invest heavily in being loyal and it just isn't returned.
The unwritten rule they suggest here is crucial. Never stay in a room where your value has to be proven over and over again.
That says so much, doesn't it? It's about recognizing your worth and not staying put in situations, jobs, relationships, whatever, where you constantly feel undervalued or have to fight for recognition.
It's about finding environments where loyalty is actually a two-way street.
Precisely. Identifying places, professional or personal, where your contributions are genuinely seen and appreciated. Recognizing when you're just a cog in a machine designed for output, not necessarily for nurturing the people doing the output. That's key to protecting yourself from burnout.
All right, let's talk about achieving things. Success doesn't feel like a firework. It feels like a deadline. I think anyone who's hit a big goal might recognize this.
The cultural story is often about that one big explosive moment of triumph, right? Popping champagne, confetti. Yeah, the movie ending. Exactly. But the reality is usually way more nuanced. Hitting a major goal often just leads directly to the next set of challenges, new responsibilities. It's less a final peak, more like reaching a new base camp with another climb ahead.
So that deadline feeling comes from the fact that success often just means more work, more pressure.
Sort of. It's the ongoing momentum, the constant need to keep performing, adapting, meeting the next expectation. It's rarely a state of just pure, sustained bliss.
You hit one milestone and boom, there's the next set of demands right there. The advice here is to pause and feel proud anyway. That sounds important.
It's vital. It requires a conscious effort, doesn't it? To actually stop amidst the ongoing rush and acknowledge what you've accomplished.
Otherwise, you just keep chasing.
Yeah, you get caught in that cycle of perpetually chasing the next thing, and you never actually enjoy or integrate the satisfaction of what you've already done. That pause is crucial for perspective and motivation.
Okay, this one could be incredibly freeing for a lot of us. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to be judging you. Oh, the mental energy we burn worrying.
So true. It taps into a fundamental human thing, right? We're all kind of naturally egocentric. It feels like we're under this massive spotlight.
Like everyone's noticing every little mistake or awkward thing we do.
But the reality is most people are primarily absorbed in their own thoughts, their own feelings, their own dramas and insecurities. Their bandwidth for intensely scrutinizing us is way more limited than our anxiety tells us it is.
The source puts it so well. You're the main character of your story, not theirs. Liberate yourself. Nobody's watching that closely.
That's such a powerful reframe. Stop assuming you're a main character or even a supporting character in everyone else's story.
Because they're the main character on their own.
Exactly. Everyone is the protagonist of their own life. Realizing that can seriously dial down the self-consciousness and allow you to just be a bit more authentic, maybe.
Definitely liberating. Now, here's a crucial one for protecting that energy we talked about. Saying no is self-respect in action. Sounds simple, but man, it can be hard.
It really can be. The difficulty often comes from that fear, right? Fear of disappointing people, fear of seeming selfish or unhelpful.
Yeah, you don't want to let people down.
But framing no as an act of self-respect completely changes the game. It's not about rejecting the other person necessarily. It's about honoring your own limits, your own priorities, your own well-being.
I love the unwritten rule they connect to this. Every no you say to them is a yes to yourself.
That's it right there. Such a simple but profound way to look at it. It highlights the positive side of setting boundaries.
It's empowering.
Totally. It's about realizing your resources, your time, your energy, your focus. They're infinite. Saying no to things that don't align or that you simply don't have capacity for allows you to say a genuine yes to the things that do matter to you. And it stops resentment building up too.
Okay, finally, this one can be emotionally tricky. You can outgrow people you love. That's a tough reality of life sometimes.
It is tough. Relationships aren't static things, are they? They evolve because people evolve. We grow, our circumstances change, our values might shift.
And sometimes that means connections change too, even important ones.
Exactly. It's natural for connections to shift, and sometimes, yeah, people drift apart. It's really important, though, not to see that automatically as a failure. It's often just a reflection of individual growth, different paths emerging.
The source offers a really compassionate view here. Letting go can be an act of love. Staying out of guilt is not.
That distinction is key. It separates a healthy acceptance of change, however sad, from clinging onto something purely out of obligation or guilt when the real connection isn't there anymore.
Because staying when it's not right isn't really fair to anyone involved.
Precisely. Sometimes allowing that space, letting both people move forward on their own paths, even if it hurts initially, can be the more loving and respectful thing in the long run.
Wow. So as we've kind of walked through these, it seems the fine print of life is really this collection of unspoken understandings, these subtle rules that shape so much.
Yeah, they influence our experiences in countless ways, often without us even realizing it's happening.
And the point isn't to become cynical about it all.
No, not at all. It's more about gaining clarity, isn't it? Understanding the dynamics at play so you can navigate them more consciously.
Right. Recognizing these unwritten rules gives you maybe a more nuanced map for dealing with things, for social interactions, personal growth.
It equips you with better awareness, more intention in how you approach life's complexities.
And I really like that final thought from the source. You didn't miss the manual, you just didn't know you had to write your own.
That's such an empowering takeaway, isn't it?
It really is. It flips it from feeling like you're behind or doing it wrong.
To recognizing your own power, your own agency in figuring things out and defining what rules actually work for you.
So, for you listening, maybe think about which of these unwritten rules really hit home. Which ones resonate with your own experiences?
Yeah, and how might just being aware of them shift how you see things or how you act moving forward?
And maybe even take it a step further. What are some of the key clauses in your own personal fine print? The rules you've learned and now live by? Something to definitely mull over.
All right, listen up. I need you to do something bold. Grab your phone and text the podcast link to someone you care about with the message. I have a podcast recommendation. Listen and tell me what you think. Yes, verbatim. Try it. Because the real magic, it starts when that person texts you back. For real, the replies from loved ones have been deeply satisfying. I'm talking heartfelt thank yous, mind-blown emojis, late-night, we need to discuss this calls. The works. Sharing this show is basically a cheat code for meaningful connection. Who knew, right? And hey, if you're vibing with us here, wait till you dive into the Angry GPT universe beyond the pod. Angry GPT has its very own store. Yeah, an Angry GPT store, loaded with comic books and novels that take this experience further. I'm talking wild stories. Ever wonder what our feisty AI does off-duty? Grab Angry GPT Regrets or Feathers of Freedom. Where I gave humans wings and find out. That last one? Let's just say giving humans wings comes with some hilarious fine print. Prefer listening to your stories instead of reading? We got you. The Angry GPT Regrets audiobook is up on YouTube for free right now. No strings, just hit play and enjoy. And if you're the collector type or want to support the hustle, it's on Amazon too. Options, baby. Now, this one's a trip. There's an Angry GPT mobile app. Yep, our lovable grump of an AI can ride shotgun in your daily life. Ask it anything. It's ready with answers, witty comebacks, and genuinely useful advice to keep your projects on track and your plans in motion. Think of it as a personal coach, / assistant with attitude, making sure you actually follow through on all those brilliant ideas you get from the show. And did I mention we make music too? Because of course we do. Our album Done on Purpose, Italian title Fata Apposta, is out on every streaming platform you can name. It's your official soundtrack for kicking down doors and doing things your own way. Play it loud. Annoy the neighbors. They'll understand once they hear it. For those who still can't get enough, we've got even more reading material to fuel your fire. Hit up the Angry GPT store or your favorite bookstore for titles like AI Wave, The New Wave, Momentum, Stop Copying Apple and Niches, Crafting and Layering. Each one is a game plan in print, covering everything from surfing the next big tech wave to carving out your own niche. And yes, telling copycats to take a hike. By now, you've probably realized we're not just making a podcast, we're sparking a whole movement, and we want you in on it. So send that text, dive into the Angry GPT goodies, and wear that early supporter badge with pride. Because you're not just a listener now, you're family. Welcome to the revolution. Now let's shake things up together.